My name is Omar, we're here at Functional Core Fitness, and today we're going to be discussing the push-up. Today's video for the foundational movements for beginners, we're going to be focusing on the push-up. Before we continue with the push-up, I want you to understand that the push-up is a very, very functional movement. I mean, as functional as it can be. Why or when would you use the push-up in a functional movement? If I'm lying down on my stomach and I want to elevate myself off the floor, I would push off the floor, get my body up off the ground, or get myself in this kneeling position to eventually standing up. So the push-up is a very, very functional movement and a very important exercise to do and to maintain for the rest of your life. Now, there are different progressions or different positions that we can do to make the push-up easier and eventually to make them harder. Since this is for the beginners, I will show the beginner and the intermediate positions. So, first things first. If I do the intermediate, I'm going to be doing the full body. Feet will be touching on the floor and my hands will be on the floor, the 3 points of connection. The beginner version is going to be on my knees and on my hands. All I'm doing is shortening my body, which means making my body lighter. So the first thing that we have to understand is the position. Now, my core has to be activated. This means that I have to squeeze my stomach and I have to squeeze my glutes. If I do not squeeze my midsection, you will see my back arch. And that's when you put too much pressure onto the lower back, and that's when the push-up exercise hurts. So I have to make sure that when I'm in my position, right, here's the beginner's version with a shorter leg, is I squeeze my glutes and my abdominals are squeezed. So there's a slight arch in my upper back. I want to maintain that while I perform the whole movement. If I release the tension of my abdominals and my glutes, you'll see my lower back straighten. That is out of alignment. That's me not activating my midsection. You can see my hips are higher than my chin. Now if I activate my glutes and my abs, now I'm in a proper position to perform the movement. So key stability is the midsection, your core and your abdominals. If at any point you release the tension of the glutes, release the tension in the abdominals, you're no longer stable and now your body is in a weakened position. Remember which repetition that you do or which you stop at when your core deactivates, and then build off that number so that you know that when you first started, you deactivated around rep 2. As you build up and you can do all 10 reps without deactivating, that's your progression. Then you can progress to a longer limb or more advanced version. So now that we discussed the activation of the core, the next thing is, what are my shoulders doing? Now my shoulders, when I perform my movement, should not be loose enough where my elbow flares out. Now, the joint that's furthest away from the spine is the weakened joint. So I don't want my elbows to be weak when I'm performing my movement. So what I'm going to do is rotate my shoulder so that my elbows are facing either at a 45 or next to my body. That's going to guarantee me a stronger shoulder versus the outside shoulder. So no flaring of the elbows. Rotate those shoulders in, keep those elbows close to your body. Okay? Now, we want to also make sure that when we perform our movement, that we exhale at the proper time. So when we exhale, we want to exhale as we push off the floor, and then we want to inhale as we decelerate ourselves down to the floor. This is what the push-up will look like. My hands are on the floor. My hands are directly under my shoulders. I'm going to rotate my shoulders so that my elbows are facing behind me. I'm going to show the shorter version. So I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm squeezing my abdominals, I have a slight arch in my back. I'm going to inhale as I come down. And then I'm going to exhale as I push up. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the way up. If you notice, the elbows are close to my body. I'm not allowing them to flare out. I've already weakened myself where I can't even do the movement as soon as I flare those elbows out. So please be careful to not flare the elbows out. Elbows in, squeeze my abdominals, my glutes, inhale, and then exhale on the way up. Another thing, you want to make sure when I come down, my chin, my chest, and my torso all touch the floor at the same time. That shows me that my plank position is solid and correct. Now let me show you a lengthened version of the push-up. All the rules stay the same. My feet, the balls of my feet are on the floor. I can stay in a close leg position, or I can go shoulder width. Up to you. The closer together, the harder they are. The push-ups, less stability. I rotate my shoulders, activate my core, activate my glutes, inhale on the way down, and exhale on the way up. On the way up. That is how you do the beginner and intermediate push-up. Now let's say you want an even earlier version of the beginner push-up. We can start elevating ourselves off the ground, which means my feet stay on the ground, my hands can go on the wall, and I can do my push-ups on the wall. Depending on how high you go will determine how much weight is on the legs, which means less weight on the hands. As you start getting closer to the ground, more weight on the hands, which makes the push-up a lot harder. I hope that answers your questions on the push-up. And please remember, train smart, move better, and stay independent. See you next week.